Zapp Gets Cancelled, the 8th episode of the new Futurama season. We're starting to come to a close here, with just 2 episodes remaining. It feels a little shocking that we're already this far into it. Those of you who have been keeping up with my reviews would know by this point that I've been skeptical of the new episodes that focus heavily on social commentary. I think that most modern commentary isn't served well in TV shows, and that the futuristic setting of Futurama can't cater to today's social issues very well. So far, I've sometimes been right, and sometimes been wrong, with the episode related to items you viewed shocking me with its good writing and high quality. But the previous episode, Rage Against the Vaccine, proving to be an example of a bad Futurama episode, with the commentary not landing and the plot being all over the place. My prediction for this episode going into it was the commentary would be a bit exhausting, but since the episode would be centered around a single character, Zapp, who's often pretty funny, the episode wouldn't be all that bad as a whole. Will Zapp Gets Cancelled surpass my expectations of mediocrity, or will it fail to do even that? This synopsis and review of the new Futurama episode will contain spoilers, so if you've not seen it already, go do that, then come back. The episode opens up with the Nimbus under fire. Quite literally. A ship composed entirely of fire is attacking the Nimbus, and all of their lasers simply pass through it. While going through this ordeal, Zapp becomes stressed out, and starts treating his crew worse than normal. If you know how he normally treats his crew, you can see why this is a massive problem. He asks Kif to bring out a shower for him, takes a shower naked in front of everyone, and uses Kif as a loofah. When Zapp realizes the ship has a water cannon, they are unable to use it because his shower drained all of the ship's water supply, so they surrender. While signing a document of surrender, Zapp's pen pokes Kif, and he realizes Kif has enough liquid to put out the fire, so he kills the fire. After this, Kif has had enough. He declares that he is going to file a complaint against Zapp. After the episode Children of a Lesser Bog, where Kif actually grows a pair, I was hoping he'd stand up for himself in a different way. I'm kind of tired of seeing him get pushed around after all these years, and it would be nice if before this, he responded to one of Zapp's degrading requests with a firm no, but this is what they needed to move on with the story. They could have had Kif give a little pushback before this, but whatever. We get a little bit of setup from the main cast at the Planet Express as well. Leela has won an Employee of the Month award for the umpteenth month in a row. She's growing tired of her work, as she's reached the low ceiling of her dead-end job, and she longs to do something more impactful with her life. Zapp is brought into some kind of HR court, where a lawyer is representing both Kif and him. During this meeting, everything Zapp has done comes to light, and it results in Zapp's own lawyer declaring him guilty. He is sentenced to sensitivity training, and he is branded with a scarlet letter C on his chest, standing for cancelled, a reference to the 1850 book A Scarlet Letter, in which the main character is labeled with a scarlet A, branding her as an adulterer, and leading her to persecution by the community and church. Nice callback to the 19th century here, I suppose, but I don't really think this is apt here. When the writers are trying to make it clear that Zapp should face consequences, and they try to use this as an example, it's pretty clear where and how they're missing the mark. Even if the point the writers meant to get across is people who get cancelled frame themselves as victims, this isn't a good way to portray it. Right after Zapp is relieved of duty, Leela receives a phone call from the dupe, asking her to fill in for his job. She's excited to fill in the position, and as Kif takes some leave to spend time with his family, she decides to appoint Fry and Bender as her assistants. We cut back to Zapp entering the sensitivity training. We meet some other characters sent into sensitivity training as well, a robot who quite literally goes around flashing people, and a woman who's rude and throws food at people. The man leading their sensitivity training walks in, and from the get-go, it's pretty clear that the twist here is instead of normal sensitivity training, where people are quote-unquote taught how to empathize with others through video lessons. In the future, the instructor is just going to be rude to everyone and degrade them so they can understand what they're putting others through. I think this was a pretty clever thing for the writers to do. As Leela becomes captain of the Nimbus, she is nervous that she won't be able to do a good job at first, and is shocked to receive praise from everyone for simply not being Zapp Brannigan. She gives a captain's log where she reveals that in their first mission, they will be reaching an uncontacted planet. They decide not to use technology so as to not scare the species, opting to leave Bender behind. He does, however, get to lower them in a bucket to the planet. He does exactly what you think he might do. Leela and Fry meet the people of this world, and they're a bit too touchy, and it's revealed that they are actually quite technologically advanced, powered all by a strong airflow directly from the planet's core. After getting a tour of this Dr. Seussian world, Leela comes to like the people of this planet. It is then revealed to her that she must trick them into signing away their rights to their air. Meanwhile, Zapp is having a hard time as he goes on a simulated mission with everyone else, where he is forced to scrub the floors with a toothbrush and is verbally degraded the entire time. The leader cracks out a durian fruit with the sole intention of irritating everyone with the smell. On the simulated mission, they have to fire upon a replica of the Nimbus, but it's not a replica or a simulation. They've actually gone rogue and are firing upon the mothership. Leela goes to a meeting where they have to sign a contract, but she is hesitant because the ceremony requires her and the leader of the tribe to grope each other. Fortunately, they're given some more time as a gunship lands nearby. The crew of cancelled people run out, unaware of what's going on. The lieutenant is very confused until it's revealed that the real leader of sensitivity training was tied up, and the man who has been leading was sent to sensitivity training himself. When it's learned that he was sent to sensitivity training for groping, he is welcomed by the alien species. He holds a durian fruit over the fresh supply of air, threatening to contaminate it. It's at this point Leela is asked to make a difficult decision, to shoot him down despite the fact that it could hurt others. She declines. Zapp Brannigan is then asked to make the call call, but he doesn't want to either, as he's grown through the sensitivity training. The antagonist all this time is taunting them for being too weak to make the call. Then he's given a chance to make the call and does, ordering his own execution. Leela is relieved from her duty and Zapp is given his job back. Leela is concerned by the fact that she wasn't ready to be a dupe captain, to which Fry comforts her by telling her that she was better than them anyway. The end. This episode was pretty well paced. It flew right by for me. All the progression and dialogue felt natural all throughout, and that's really all the high praise I have for this episode. There were some other good things, nothing really to write home about. The humor was fine, Zapp had some good one-liners, but nothing stood out as particularly funny other than that. I think the issue here is the plot didn't use characters like Hermes or Professor Farnsworth, characters that have been carrying the show's sense of humor this season. The plot was fine, there were good aspects and bad aspects to it. I liked how they fleshed out the crazy and unique world that the aliens lived in, and how they used their unique resources as a means to show Leela how corrupt the dupe is, but I also disliked some plot devices. For example, I thought the durian was a weird thing for them to use to drive the plot forward. While we're on the topic, let's talk about the twist villain. When he was first introduced, I quite liked the concept. Having human resource and sensitivity training, just being someone who treats everyone poorly so they can understand how they're treating other people, is bizarre and quite funny. This ridiculous practice being commonplace in the future is such a classic Futurama twist, but when they revealed that it actually wasn't like that at all, it's just like it is in the world today, and the sensitivity trainer was hijacked, it definitely made a big part of the episode feel less enjoyable to me. In terms of social commentary, this episode was okay. I do like how they took a workplace misconduct angle with this rather than a political angle, but I also think this episode really missed the mark on what canceling is. For a more apt commentary, they could have had Kiv post a video of Zapp's behavior to social media and have it go viral, and then his punishment is because of the backlash online. Ultimately, human resources have been reprimanding people for workplace harassment for a long time now, and the only aspects people are interested in is how social media plays into this now. I don't really have too much more to say about this episode. It's slightly below average, I suppose. I'd give this episode like a 6 out of 10 at most. Now that the 8th episode has aired, that means we're down to the last 2 episodes coming to Hulu. The Prince and the Product will be the Hulu run's first anthology episode. Honestly, this is the wildest card of them all. Could be one of the best or one of the worst episodes. There's absolutely no telling, and all the way down seems to be more of a philosophical episode, judging from its description. The crew investigates whether the Earth is a simulation. The philosophical episode Godfellas was certainly one of the show's best, and it would be nice to see the show tackle a similar existential theme. We'll have to see how each of these episodes turn out respectively. I'll be here to review them when they come out. I've reviewed all previous episodes of this season as well. Go check them out. See y'all later.